Hello, and welcome to the new video. This time let's discuss our Ancestral Protector Poison build. Patch 3.20 introduced two new very interesting unique items to the game. The first of them, called Wilmus Requital, is a quite niche helmet very clearly dedicated for a totem playstyle, as it grants Ancestral Bond Keystone. With that, you can't deal damage directly by yourself, but you can summon one additional totem. It's a very powerful keystone for nearly every totem build, but that's not all. What makes this helmet truly unique is the second modifier it grants. Cast speed bonuses are applied to your attacks as well. This makes it a very lucrative helmet for an attack totem character, which admittedly is a bit unusual. In this case, we decided to use it with another new item, ECHOFORGE sword. It's the third piece of the unique sword series, but also much more niche than Starforge or Voidforge. It has a tremendously high amount of chaos damage but disables physical and elemental damage completely, which strictly narrows the build possibilities. With its low base critical strike chance, it's best to use it for a poison build. As a Pathfinder, your flasks are much more effective, and you can easily sustain them at all times. You will also deal more damage with chaos-based attacks and occasionally inflict greatly improved poisons. Ancestral Protector is a quite popular melee totem, but usually, it's used only for the buff it grants. When active, it grants up to 20% more attack speed. As you can guess, it makes a perfect combination with the aforementioned helmet. The build is very tanky and mobile. You will have high amounts of armor and evasion, paired with a decent amount of maximum life. The totem playstyle is also very safe by default. After summoning them, you can freely focus on dodging incoming attacks. The clear speed is quite good thanks to the Pathfinder's poison proliferation, but placing and activating your totems slows it a bit. The damage output is absurdly high. Thanks to the very fast attack speed, you will ramp up your poisons in no time. It is a quite cheap setup to start and has a lot of room for improvement. Most of the uniques used here are highly recommended, but not required. There are a few uniques that are simply hard to pass, but most of them are fully optional. Unique jewels are especially important to cap your spell suppression. It's quite hard to do so otherwise, as it makes getting enough resistances significantly more problematic. Wilmus Requital is a very important item that grants you Ancestral Bond Keystone, which translates into one additional totem. It also grants a lot of accuracy rating and attack speed bonuses. Getting the Ancestral Protector enchant for more attack speed is a substantial upgrade. The ECHOFORGE is the best weapon for this build. It has insanely high chaos DPS and enables your chaos damage to inflict shock. It also has a very high variance of modifiers, but as a rather niche item, it's quite easy to get a well-rolled one. The Covenant adds a very powerful 7th link for your main setup, but also causes your mana costs to be paid with your life as well. It also grants a lot of energy shield, which is quite important for the Eldritch battery setup. You can also use the Dendrobate armor at first. It grants much less damage, but it's also much more easily accessible. You will need to fulfill the attribute requirements to make it worthwhile. Dawnstriders grants a lot of maximum life and movement speed, while also doubling the base effect of your Ancestor Protector. It's a very good option if the maximum damage is all you want. Azimuth's Gentle Touch are a great starting point, as they grant you Temporal Chains Curse on hit and a bit of maximum life paired with intelligence. Unfortunately, the explosion damage is disabled by the Ancestral Bond Keystone. You can get Corrupted Implicits for both attack and cast speed here. Circle of Nostalgia grants a lot of damage and poison chance when you use Herald of Agony. Use the Noxious Catalyst to boost the damage bonus. Synthesis Implicits can be very powerful, but adequate Herald modifiers are more important. Thanks to the Balance of Terror Jewel, your totems will nearly instantly apply the maximum amount of Wither stacks for 10 seconds after casting Despair Curse. You will have to manually cast it to get the benefit. Damage over time multiplier from Malevolence or Spell Suppression Chance with Grace are the best modifiers to get on your Watcher's Eye. You can also get some minor bonuses from other auras. Quartz Infusion granted by this combo will greatly help with your spell suppression. Other combinations are not really worth it over regular rare jewels. A quartz flask paired with spell suppression on your rare gloves and boots can be used as a substitute for forbidden jewel combo. On your rare gear, you mostly want to focus on defensive aspects, such as maximum life, resistances, or life regeneration. Some damage can be found there as well, although the best source of it are your cluster jewels. Since ECHOFORGE is available only through the Maven encounter, it can be hard to obtain at first. In the meantime, you can use any two-handed weapon with the highest physical or chaos DPS you can find. If you prefer a more defensive option, use rare boots with lots of maximum life, spell suppression chance, and resists. Movement speed is optional since you will be using mostly your leap slam to move around. Rare gloves are a more advanced option but have better benefits. You can get temporal chains on hit corrupted implicits with many useful modifiers such as maximum life, spell suppression chance, additional strike, or resists here. On your rare belt you should aim for tons of maximum life and resistances, especially on the Stygian Vice base. You can also get some damage or flask modifiers if resistances are not a problem. Your rare Abyss jewel is best used by getting a lot of life and elemental resistances there. Damage options are pretty limited. You can also get some specific ailment avoidances or effect reductions. Use a rare ring to cap your resistances and get some maximum life. You can use the Veiled mod to generate frenzy charges during map clear and have at least one charge during boss encounters. You can get a lot of damage over time multiplier on your amulet. It should be paired with usual modifiers such as maximum life or resistances. Our recommended anointment here is the Tribal Fury, which grants you a melee splash effect. All your rare jewels should boost your maximum life. Other than that, you can look for resistances, poison damage and duration, or damage over time multipliers. You can also get a lot of attack and cast speed or mana reservation efficiency here. This specific combination of notables grants you a large amount of chaos damage as well as some attack speed. Try to get the version with only 8 additional passives to avoid wasting points on traveling nodes. One of your medium cluster jewels should be used to get a nearly permanent onslaught and improved effectiveness of your Ancestral Protector's buff. The second one has more freedom of mods to pick, but we recommend getting Circling Oblivion and Flow of Life as it's the best mix of offense and defense. You will want to use 5 magic flasks with this setup. If you don't have capped spell suppression, we suggest using the quartz flasks to help with that. Otherwise, use any other one to your liking, preferably the Quicksilver flask. For your remaining slots, we recommend using Life Flask with bleeding removal, Granite Flask with increased armor rating, Jade Flask with increased evasion rating, and a Sulfur Flask with cast speed bonus. Ancestral Protector summons a totem which uses your weapon to attack nearby enemies. It also grants a massive bonus to your attack speed while it is active. You have to be a bit close to your totems in order to activate them. Multiple totem support increases your limit of summoned totems by 2 but reduces their individual damage. The overall clear speed and damage output are much better. Most support gems have their awakened version, which boosts their damage a bit. Determination improves your armor rating while also providing a lot of flat amount of that stat. Grace, similarly to the previous aura, grants a bit more evasion rating but improves it at a lower rate. Herald of Agony grants a lot of chance to poison with your attacks while also boosting its damage. Use the Divergent quality version to get even more poison chance. Vitality gives you a lot of life regeneration, which is your main way of life recovery. Adjust its gem level to your unreserved mana. Enlightened support reduces the mana reservation required for each aura, and each level improves its effectiveness. Precision aura gives you a lot of accuracy rating. Try to keep it at a low level to reduce the reservation, while also achieving a 100% chance to hit. Arrogant support causes it to reserve your life instead of mana. Since it's a flat cost, it will cost only a small percentage of your total life. Malevolence significantly improves your damage over time and the duration of various effects, such as the blessing itself. With the Divine Blessing, you can cast this aura as a temporary buff with the upfront cost paid by your energy shield instead of permanently reserving your mana. Haste is an incredible aura for this build as you will gain doubled benefits thanks to your helmet. Unfortunately, the base version is still too weak to justify its usage. Vol Haste however can be used at no additional cost to improve your burst damage. Wither applies a very potent debuff on your enemies that increases the chaos damage they take. Use the divergent quality to apply more stacks when self-casting. After channeling this skill for at least a second, you will gain a buff that improves the chaos damage you deal while also reducing the chaos damage you take. Temporal Chain slows your enemies and prolongs the duration of poison on them. Ideally, it should be applied via curse on hit on your gloves as it doesn't scale that much with gem levels. Despair lowers the chaos resistances of your foes, thus improving your damage. Use the anomalous quality to improve your damage even more. This hex also can be applied with a curse on hit setup, for example on your rare ring, but the damage loss is quite noticeable, as it would apply the level 1 version. To boost it even further, use the enhanced support. Leap Slam performs a jump to the targeted location. It scales very well with your insane attack speed. Thanks to your helmet, you can boost it with 2 support gems instead of the usual one. Extra quality of all those gems makes it even faster. Molten Shell is a guard skill that grants a buff in form of a protective barrier that absorbs part of the incoming damage based on your armor rating. You can bind it to your left click to cast it automatically when you move. The Bandits offers are pretty negligible for this build. It's best to kill them all to get 2 bonus passive skill points. Soul of the Brine King as your major Pantheon power will greatly help with avoiding stunlocks and freezes, while also reducing the effect of chills on you, which puts a pretty nasty penalty on your attack speed. Your minor Pantheon power is much more flexible, but the Soul of Shikari is the most useful here in our opinion as it is quite hard to cap your chaos resistances. The final version for this build is not well suited for leveling. You will need your endgame items before you can fully transition into full-fledged totem build. The same goes for poisons. Without a 100% chance to apply it with each hit, it's quite slow for leveling. We recommend going the Toxic Rain route and respec your passives once you reach Act 8 or better yet, Maps. This will save you a lot of early game troubles and allow you to enjoy your build faster. Fortunately, there are a lot of passives that work well with that playstyle, and you can get plenty of refund points just from doing campaign quests. You don't need an Ancestral Bond thanks to your helmet, but there is another very useful keystone to pick up, an Eldritch Battery. It converts your energy shield to substitute your mana, allowing you to fully reserve your mana and use additional aura with the Divine Blessing. You can optionally give up on that and use the Ghost Dance keystone instead. That way, you can still benefit from your energy shield as your defensive value, but you will have to include Life Tap in most of your setups. That version has less damage, but as you could see in the intro, it's still enough to take down most bosses in seconds. Regardless of which version you choose, we hope you will enjoy playing this build. If you want to see more videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe. Have a good day, and see you in the next video.